Okay, so we have this texture right here. I brought in this color map right here. And again, I want to make this color map work as if each one of these bricks had some kind of different version of this rock happening. Okay, so the first thing to do is to double click this layer and go to the underlying layer blend right here. This basically says, okay, I want to use this texture and again, only put that in the, let's say, dark areas. So I'm masking out the bright areas like that. This is something that I talked about in shading 1, I believe. So some of this might be a bit of review. But you can do something like that, make a duplicate, and then do the opposites. So now we're just focusing on the dark areas. So we'll go like somewhere maybe right around there, and then blend this out like so. We can do that. And then let's go ahead and change the brightness of this rock layer. So we can go to levels, maybe make this a little bit darker, something like that. And then we'll make one more here that will be for the gray tones. So now bring everything back to where it was before. We go a little bit towards gray on both sides like this, hold down Alt, and we're going to only allow it to happen around 50% gray. So right about there. Okay, now what we do is we rotate each one of these layers like that. And by doing so, it's essentially allowing a different part of the repeatable texture to affect each tonal range of this map that's being used for the bricks. So pretty cool, right? We have that going on. Let's go ahead and also maybe adjust this, do some levels. We can maybe go just a little bit darker, something like that. So that's pretty cool. Also, let's go ahead and just fine tune this a little bit more. We'll go maybe right around there. Okay. I think that's looking pretty nice. Once we have that, we can also change the levels of this underlying layer because that determines where these textures get placed. So let's do this. We'll just create a levels and we can just adjust some of these things. Maybe clip out the whites, clip out the black so it's a little bit more contrasted. And we can do that kind of thing. Maybe even go to exposure and bring up the gamma so that the midtones contain more contrast as well. In other words, it pushes things either towards black or white. If I take these off, you can see what I'm doing here. So clipping out values and then taking those grays and putting it more towards black and white. That allows these layers to come through even more. So once we do that, we can also take a duplicate of this, put it at the very top, and then do a soft light. So we do a soft light and we start blending this in as well. So we start doing that kind of thing. Maybe do another layer. This time we can multiply. And with this multiply, I want to have a lot more contrast. So image, levels, most of it's going to be 1, which means it doesn't do anything. And then the rest is going to darken everything out like that. And as you can see, now we have this really cool situation where we have a rock and we have some sort of rock texture and we're able to make it work with these different bricks, even though this wasn't part of the original brick texture. So that's a really cool thing to do. Let's save this out as a color or as a JPEG, whatever you want to save it out as, and see how that looks within Houdini. All right, and there we go. Now we have this flagstone. It looks like flagstone. It acts like flagstone. It is flagstone. The moral of the story here, though, is that triplanar projections, they work better in a situation where you need to be specific. And in this case, we needed something very specific to pull off the look here. Also, I went ahead and just made these triplanar projections and also threw in some ambient occlusion just to emphasize the form. But that's really it. And again, a network like this is very easy to make. You're not trying to experiment with weird things and distorting your noises to get what you want from them. You're just being a bit more straightforward, and it's a great method to use in this particular situation. In the next video, let's move on by talking about a situation that's less specific and how noises can really help you in cases like that.